there, I'm Tara Richardson with Newport Florist, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a patriotic arrangement perfect for 4th of July to put on your kitchen table or just to decorate the house for the holiday. We're going to start off with a vase that's red, and here's the tools that I have. I have my clippers, a pair of scissors, a floral knife, and also I have an American flag. I also have this product right here, which is Hawaiian Floral Mist, kind of like a hydration / preservative solution for your finished arrangement. I also have a bucket of flowers and a bucket of greenery, and I'm going to explain what all these are as I'm working. Okay, the very first thing that you're going to do with your greens, and we're going to start off with salal, is you're going to basically make a grid of the stems and the leaves so that once you start to put your flowers in, there's something to kind of hold them into position. And so how you do this, oh, by the way, I also have a trash can between me and the work table so that as I'm working, all the excess greenery goes into the trash can. So what you want to have when you're putting in your greenery is you don't want any of the greens below the water line. So what I do is I put the vase up to the table and I kind of hold my greenery there, and I can kind of determine how far to cut it, how long to cut it, because you want it to kind of make a V or something to like get it started. You kind of want to have some V's set in place, and you kind of crisscross stems through the V's, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to get too tall with my greenery this first couple of pieces. Also, you want your salal stems, you want all your stems as long as possible, so that if you forget to add water, the flowers can reach the water. Okay, so this is about right for the beginning. And I kind of already have a front for my arrangement. This arrangement is going to be mostly one-sided. It's going to look pretty from all the way around, but it's definitely going to have a front. This greenery right here is called leatherleaf fern, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it right here, and then I'm going to cut it right here. And so this first cut is going to be right here, and I'm going to set these aside. If you were in a shop, you could save these and use them for like maybe a teacup arrangement or something like that. But in our case, you can use them for something like that, or you could just throw them away. They may or may not get used. I'm adding a little water so the water's all the way to the top. Okay. This next cut is gonna be right here. Now you can use clippers to do what I'm doing right here, but this next cut is gonna be like this. I'm gonna save that guy, and now I have a little bit longer stem with a really pretty leaf. Same with this, I'm gonna cut off this one. And I have a nice long leaf. I'm just gonna insert right here. Just a couple more pieces of leather leaf and we'll be done with this greenery. What you don't want with your leather leaf is you don't wanna leave these broken pieces. Like, see how this piece right here is broken? You don't wanna leave that. You wanna get rid of all those little broken bits. In the flower shop, we use these little pieces for corsages, boutonnieres, halos, that kind of thing. Okay, so we're getting pretty close here to being done with our leather and our salal. We use these two a lot for kind of setting the framework for the arrangement. And this is what I would call my front right here. Also, a thing I say in all my videos is that when you're making an arrangement, you don't want more than a couple seconds from the clip till you get it in the water. That is the most fundamental thing about having long-lasting flowers. You want the cut time from the cut till the water to be as short as possible, 1 or 2 seconds only. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of chamomile. This is German chamomile right here. And the reason I'm choosing this one next is because I was kind of saying you like to have some things with like V's. Basically, all these little branches that come off the center are gonna make a place for the other flowers to go through and kind of get caught in that those twigs or nests or branches. So by putting a few of these chamomile in at the beginning, you're kind of having, you're putting in your structure, so to speak. So I put a few pieces in one piece in the front, these two, and I'm gonna put one back here. I'm gonna save these little side lateral pieces for something else. I'll put them with my pile of greens that I'm saving for another smaller arrangement, which, like I said, could be a teacup, or it could be like a small compote with a little piece of floral foam inside. Okay, next flower I'm gonna use is gonna be one of my focal flowers. The reason I'm gonna put my focal flowers in next is because lilies take up so much space in an arrangement, and you don't want to put them in at the end because, like I said, they're very spacious. I usually pick out these because it makes the flowers last longer, and then the powder, the pollen from them doesn't stain your hands and your furniture and your tablecloth. So if you pick those out right away, longer lasting arrangement and not so much pollen all over the place. Okay, so there's that one. I'm next gonna put in my hydrangea. The Oregon coast is known for our beautiful hydrangeas. This one has a couple little brown petals in it, so I'm just gonna pluck those out. And you can do that with yours at home too. If you have any hydrangeas that have some browning on the petals, just pluck the brown petals out. Hydrangea is very resilient. If you start to see yours wilting, take them and immerse them upside down in room temperature water, and then just shake out the excess water, give it a fresh cut, and pop it into your vase, and they'll perk up within about, I'd say 4 hours usually. They get like really nice and firm again. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm gonna take this, this one right here is yarrow. It has a wonderful herbal fragrance as you kind of peel off the leaves. Notice that I'm peeling off the leaves every time before I put a flower in, and that's because you really don't want any greenery below the water line, or very little anyways. And I'm just kind of putting another piece of yarrow over here. One thing that I find to be a rule of thumb, and this wouldn't be a hard and fast rule, but it would definitely be something that I generally do. I try not to have all flowers of the same type at the same height. So with my yarrow, I'm probably gonna go one here, and one low. Like, I don't know where the low one's gonna go or if I'm even gonna need it, but it just makes for a nice looking arrangement. This flower right here is called Tweedia, and it's kind of like a soft, graceful arching flower, kind of light blue in color. So I'm just gonna have some kind of like arching down and forward and off to the sides. It's one of my favorite summertime flowers. We get a lot of our flowers from a wonderful farm in Philomath, Oregon called Green Gable Gardens. They grow tons of just wonderful things. What's one of the best things about living here in Oregon is we have a lot of really nice locally available flowers. This lily right here was grown by Chantel Brown out in Siletz, Oregon, and she brings us flowers in the summertime. Next, I'm not gonna put in the roses yet. I'll save those for a little later. Probably use this delphinium next. Dark blue delphinium is one of my favorite flowers of all time. This is really nice and fresh. See how the buds are still tight? Some of them, like this stem, they're starting to open. But this is a great flower for 4th of July because it has that dark blue color that is so kind of rare in the flower realm. Oh, and anytime you see little broken petals or leaves or anything, I always clip or take those off because you don't want anything broken to show in your finished arrangement. And you see, I'm kind of just like holding the flower up to the vase to see where, how tall I need to cut it. Okay, so what I have going on right here, this is looking good, But you can kind of see how this piece of yarrow is covering up this delphinium, and you don't want that to happen because yarrow is kind of a, I would call it a filler flower, where delphinium is definitely, in my mind, one of the stars of the show. So I'm gonna take this yarrow out and put it a little bit lower and more back, because I want that delphinium to really showcase. Another thing is, as you're putting your flowers in, if any of your greens are overshadowing the flowers, you want to remove those, because again, the greens are just the background. They're not the main focal pieces or the stars of the show, so to speak. This hydrangea, I may or may not use that one. If I put it in, it might be towards the back, but we're coming along pretty nice here. Okay. This dahlia will look quite beautiful towards the front. And I'm just gonna cut it like so, stick it straight in. Okay, and then I think we'll have some, I'm trying to decide if we should have some white snaps. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And see, I'm pulling this greenery off before I stick it in. And see how I kind of like twist the stem back and forth as I'm applying downward pressure. That helps when you first stick in the stem. Sometimes it will encounter other stems in its way, but if you kind of twist it back and forth a little bit, that sometimes moves the stems that are blocking it around and wiggles it around so that they can go in. I was just moving the snaps around a little bit so that the spacing between the snaps and delphinium, so they weren't crowded. And I think I'll have this snap coming off, kind of off the side. See how I'm inserting it kind of at an angle back here and twisting back and forth like I said. There we go. And then just like I said before, if any other like little pieces of filler flower are kind of competing for space or showiness, I'll remove those. Okay, this is looking really good. I think what we need to have happen here is some red be dispersed through some of these areas that are predominantly blue and white. So we're gonna do that with our roses and our carnations. This dahlia, we're gonna have to kind of fuss with him at the end because that one just kind of doesn't want to go the direction that I want it to. A lot of times with if your roses and carnations are the same color, you can put the roses in the foreground and put the carnations off to the side. For instance, we have our 3 roses kind of in the foreground, and if we put a carnation here and maybe one over here and then maybe even one kind of in the background, you'll think that maybe there's more roses in the arrangement than there are, which is nice because roses are a little bit more expensive than carnations, usually at least double the price. If you live in the Newport, Oregon area, we teach classes here at Newport Florist, so you can certainly come to take one of our classes. But if you don't, we are interested in trying to send out kits that you can do at home along with this video. So call the shop and we can try to ship you a kit. I haven't started doing it yet, but it's something I'd love to try. So if anybody would be game for trying that out, let me know. Okay, there we are. I'm pretty happy with this as a finished product. I'm going to finish it by spraying it with this solution, which is called Hawaiian Floral Mist. And I'm also going to change the water. So as you can see, this is a beautiful front. The back is kind of like, not so much. But if you're gonna put this like on a sideboard or somewhere that faces outward, it's a great use of your flowers. I was gonna say the last thing, I'm gonna change the water in my vase because there's little pieces of greenery and debris and all sorts of stuff in here. So I'm gonna dump that out, refill it with fresh water, and then put a little bit of flower food in there, just like the little packets that you get at the grocery store with fresh cut flowers. If you didn't have those, you could probably use a couple drops of lemon juice and like maybe a couple pinches of sugar and like a drop of bleach. That's pretty much what flower food is. It is sugar, citric acid, and I believe some kind of antibacterial, or something that kills the proliferation of bacteria. So thank you for watching my video, and have a great 4th of July.